Hello and welcome to the Discomfort Zone, the podcast that gets you comfortable with the uncomfortable. On today's show, we talk about overdoing it and share some very interesting anecdotes from Muscle Max.
Muscle Max, yes.
Muscle Max.
We talk about keeping your ego in check and the importance of a rest day.
And we think just how accurate is your Apple Watch. Hi Gem, hi Nadiva, good to be back.
I know, here we go.
How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm fine.
Fine.
I'm fine.
Which also stands for...
Yeah, we've discussed this. I always say I'm fine, but I think fine to a psychologist stands for fucked up, insecure, neurotic and emotional.
Or you're just fine, and that's okay for today too.
I do feel fine. I still have a bit of a broken finger, but other than that, I am fine. Deeves, how are you?
I'm okay. However, I think I've woken up this morning with tonsillitis.
No.
Oh, God. Actually, do you know what?
I don't know why I'm laughing. Like, it really hurts to swallow. I feel like I've got needles in my throat.
Oh, good. She can't swallow. Thank God for that, because the swallowing is horrendous. Do you know what? Maybe I'm just going to give you permanent tonsillitis. Then maybe you won't swallow.
No,
then
it's
maybe
really bad because the doctor says if I get it again and I know this isn't a medical podcast, but the doctor says if I get it again this year, I've got to get my tonsils out.
Great. Maybe it'll fix your swallowing problem.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe you have.
Maybe my tonsils are too big. That's why.
It's like every time you swallow, they're like banging together, which is like that awful noises. Although I should also say that you did appear in my house before and opened my cupboard and said, "Can I have one of your turmeric tablets? I think I'm feeling a bit run down." To which I replied, "Yes, but one tablet is not going to fix all of your problems." And you were genuinely shocked at that. People, one thing. It's not a quick fix. Maybe you should take a rest. Do you want to tell everybody what else you did at 5 a.m. this morning with your so-called tonsillitis, which is why I don't feel sorry for you?
I may or may not have woken up at 4:20 to go to Barry's boot camp. Shout out to
4:20s.
Barry's. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.
So you woke up feeling unwell and went straight off to push yourself as hard as you could push yourself.
Yes, I have issues.
Yeah, one day we need to talk about that. But have you never just thought, okay, maybe I should take a rest?
Yeah, tomorrow's my rest day.
Yeah, but that's a planned rest day if you're not feeling well.
No, I know. But I tell you the truth is, I had already paid for it. And if I wasn't going to go, then that was £21.50 down the drain.
Okay. So £21.50 is worth more than your health. So you value your health at £21.50.
I also thought that I might be able to sweat it out.
That is more logical, but I think that's you telling yourself some kind of way of justifying
100%.
going.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to go there today. I think this is not a thing that you face
I feel
alone.
Like this
I don't
podcast
think
is turning it around on me today.
I think
you have an issue, Nadiva.
I think you are facing things. I think the same thing would be lots of people listening in will say, sometimes I go to work when I'm sick. Sometimes I go to class when I feel like I should stay at home. Sometimes I push myself too hard and sometimes I overdo it. I don't think you're alone. I do that too. Do you do that sometimes, Gemma?
I mean, I went to the gym every day that I had chemotherapy. So you tell me. I definitely overdo it. In fact, I can tell you a quick story about overdoing it, which is one of my favorite stories, that when I finished chemotherapy, I decided I needed to do a half marathon I'm sure you remember this, to do a half marathon just to prove otherwise. And I had this really great plan that I wanted to wear a t-shirt, and on the front, it would have like a picture of me now, and on the back, so anyone behind me, it would say I just kicked cancer's butt. And then I had this like real lovely vision of everyone would run past me, go, "Oh, go on girl, you're amazing." See, this is where I go with I need to be constantly validated. Anyway, the week before the half marathon, and I had got 3 friends to do it with me, and we had started training. It was actually really fun. Had to take a break for training to have my surgeries, kept training again. They'd never run. We did it all together. It was like we found this, like our tribe, our crew, and we were running every morning at 6 a.m. And then the week before, I ended up in hospital with flu on an IV drip. And I came out of hospital 4 days before the run. And I remember mum being in the room, and I said to the doctor, Or maybe mum said to the doctor, she's mad. She thinks she's doing a marathon on Sunday. Can she do one? The doctor was really unhelpful. And he was like, she feels all right. And obviously mum's like, shut up. I mean, I was in an IV and I did run it. And I basically said to my friends I was running it with, okay, I think I'm just going to do like the first 5K with you because we've trained really hard. Then I'm going to stop and I'll just walk off. And so every 5K, they were like, okay, are we done? And I was like, no, another 5. And then we did another 5 and then another 5. And yeah, and then I completed it 8 weeks after I'd finished all my cancer treatment. So do you know what? Yes, we overdo it. And that was a ridiculous thing to do.
It was. And I was there with mum's couch saying, Gemma, please don't do this. You're going to push yourself too hard. Look up, love yourself. We love you so much, please. Yeah.
But it's one of the proudest things I've done. So...
Just like me going to Barry's.
No, you can't be proud of going to Barry's for £21.50. I raised £6,000 for charity, mate. What'd you do?
Oh,
she showed up for yourself. Yeah. And this is the thing. Everyone's got their own battles, right? Everyone's got their own things they're facing.
It's the fear of letting myself down.
Would you think you would let yourself down if you didn't go to Barry's? Do you really believe that?
Unless if I was genuinely could not get out of bed, I wouldn't have done. I'm very good at listening to my body, but this was it's just tonsillitis, just a little throat infection.
You convince yourself this is worthwhile, this is okay.
So you think we need to be in today's day and age literally on the floor crawling around on hands and feet, not able to function?
That's me.
But I think people do think like that.
I think it's a cultural thing. I come up against this a lot in work. People feel like they cannot stop. People have to work so hard because life is tough. I'll put it out there. And actually society makes life financially very tough and all those extra things. But there's something in the culture of almost glamorizing overexertion and striving and pushing really, really hard. Like
I just did.
Like you did.
I think we're just stupid. We don't think. We just keep going until we physically cannot move.
And that's the danger. Yeah. And I'm talking about this, and I do this too. There was a phase in life where I pushed myself so hard to achieve something I really wanted to achieve, whether it's my professional career and my qualifications, or earlier with my fitness goals in life, and I pushed myself ridiculously hard because I was striving for something, and it comes from that place of I feel like I want to be good enough and I want to make it. And I got a point to prove. Yeah. And I think you had a point to prove for that one, Gem. I think you wanted to say to yourself, I'm now well enough to push myself. That story's behind me. This is a different story I'm going to tell myself.
I remember explaining it. I had a massive argument. I think I had an argument with my boss about it. And he was coming from a place of I care about you. Yeah. And I was saying to him, you don't understand when you have been told for the last year all the things that you can't do or that your body won't let you do. All you want to do is say fuck you, I can do this, I can be better, I can be stronger, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna beat whatever this is. That in the time was cancer, but I guess with the run it was just, okay, you're telling me I'm not able to do this, I am going to do this. I've been told so many times, stop, take a breath, you can't go here, you can't go on a plane, you can't be near gems, whatever it was. And so that for me was just, I need to do something, I need to prove I can.
And you did it.
And I did it. And shall I say it? I'm going to say it. And I beat my husband.
Yes. Oh dear, Daryl.
So there's times in life, and you're going to be listening and thinking, there's times in life where I've got something I need to really strive for. And I think there's also times where, like you said, it's also okay. You were then trying to convince Nadiva the opposite of what you said, that actually there are times where if you're feeling unwell, don't overdo it. Can you slow down? It's about the reward, isn't it? The risk and the reward. At that moment in time, you're saying, well, is it worth it? Maybe this is the time to rest up and not push yourself too hard. And you're saying there are some critical moments in life where you're trying to prove something to yourself. Like that moment for you, Gem, where all of us were very worried about you. But this was more important to you. This was extremely important. It was defining who you thought you were.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Are you okay, by the way? I haven't asked you. Are you okay?
I'm good. I had a bit of a trauma last night, so I'm still recovering from my trauma.
Dear. What happened?
Well, good news, and I think we're trying to also practice what we preach in this podcast.
Yes.
So the practicing what we preach part is that I now have a home gym in my garage.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh my-
Very impressive.
Very impressive. It so happened that the stars aligned, and my wife and I were looking for a treadmill for the garage so she could run, particularly while the kids were still sleeping upstairs and not have to be outside the house.
Good tip.
Very good practical tips. So this
Yes,
was all about how do we make
exactly.
things easier, not
Yeah.
harder for ourselves. And it so happened that we managed to get them from our neighbours a free treadmill and a free cross trainer.
Dreamy.
Good neighbours.
Very good neighbours.
Good tip. Better neighbours.
Good neighbours. So now we've got that.
Here's a good tip. Get good
Get
neighbours.
good neighbours. We've got very good neighbours. We're very lucky.
Clearly.
And so we got them free, but of course we needed them moved from our friend's house, from our friend of a friend's house. So we got a man with a van to bring it over. We'll call him. His name is something very similar to Muscle Max.
Muscle Max.
Muscle Max. Very strong, big guy. And he helps us lift it. And I get some mates to help me lift this really heavy treadmill into the back of the van. Bring it into the back of the van, get the lip over, and then he needs to take a breather, this big muscle guy.
How old is?
I'm going to say
Muscle
50,
Max?
50 plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's breathing heavy, and he's got that flush look in his face where your neck and your head starts to go bright red. And we're thinking, you okay? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm just recovering from a chest infection. And I'm like, oh God, okay. Take it easy. He takes a breather. We get the rest in. And then comes to the next piece of kit. We have to do another journey for it. So we get the cross trainer to do it. He starts to lift that up. And he goes even more bright red. And then has to sit down because his eyes start doing that thing where your eyes start not focusing.
Oh my
And he
God.
then goes, oh yeah, by the way, I'm recovering. I'm still recovering from my heart transplant.
Fuck.
And by the way, and he starts saying in that heart transplant, I also had 2 strokes. Poor
Oh
guy.
my God.
Poor guy. And then he said he was in a coma for 2 weeks as a result as well.
Oh my God.
And now he's back helping us.
Shit.
And so I said to
He
him,
decided that was the best career to go into.
oh, Muscle Max. I was very, very worried for him and very, very worried about him. And so I remember saying the words to him. I said, Muscle Max, you've got nothing to prove.
Muscle Max.
I said, Muscle Max, you've got
Did you say
nothing to
Muscle
prove.
Max.
I did say Muscle Max because he's proud of being Muscle Max. He's a
Right.
very strong guy. It's part of his identity.
Okay.
But I said to Muscle Max, you've got nothing to prove. We'll get it from here. And took it. And he went away safe, okay, and we now have our gym. But my gosh, I was so worried last night about you. I really hope you're okay. You were left fine. Thank goodness. But
Oh my God.
please look after
Jeez.
yourself and love yourself, people. He really pushed himself very hard, maybe when he didn't need to.
Oh my God.
We would have been okay with, it's too heavy for me. It's not a job for me. So
Did he know what he was moving before he came?
we did tell him, and he said, could I have a bit of help, please? And I took that as a bit of help.
What, like a hand?
More manpower.
More manpower. Not, I don't want to lift, thank you.
Oh dear.
Oh
So
my God. That's scary.
overdoing it and pushing it is the theme here. But
Okay,
also, Matt's got a home gym.
Yes.
So,
You do.
Yeah.
2 weeks spent in company with Gem and I, and you now have a home gym.
It's amazing.
Winner,
what happens.
winner.
Yeah.
Guys, if
And
you're
I've
listening.
been consistent. I really have been consistent in my. So maybe we'll do a thing in a future podcast about an update from me, because yeah, you've been very helpful and instructive with me. So let's
Smashing
hope
the wall sits.
smashing the wall sits. Yeah.
Arguably the only thing you don't actually need equipment for.
What, you don't need a treadmill for wall sits?
Oh,
You're doing them all wrong.
I'm just picturing Matt squatting
Yeah,
and
like
going,
falling off the back.
and back on.
Have you ever seen that when people come and support their dog and they put their dog on the treadmill?
No.
Yeah, it's-
that's a good
yeah,
one.
it's quite a good thing.
I don't
Because
think
dogs
Reggie would
naturally
cope
will
with
keep
that.
going if the floor. My dog probably won't. He'll probably
He'd
like
just
he'd
stay on
probably
it and just
fly
flop
out.
off.
But yeah, people when they can't be bothered to put their dog to walk their dog.
Right.
I've also seen videos of people when they genuinely get in the car and slowly just drive and the dog just walks out the window.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
I think you probably do that on like a farm, not on like
Stop
the
it.
A41.
That's
No.
horrendous.
Yes.
We've
Sorry.
got little children. And
So you just hang them out the window on a lead.
our little daughter can go. No, she's not going to go on the treadmill. But she's very fascinated by it. She thought it was very fun to see.
Does she?
Yeah. She loves gymnastics. She absolutely loves. So we've got the gymnastic rings in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Her favourite thing to do is swing on that. It's a lot of fun.
She's got good upper body strength.
Yeah.
Kids do.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
kids anyway.
They do. They're
Yeah.
really strong. Kids are really strong. And you see them on these like videos hanging or flipping or doing pull-ups at age
Yeah.
3. And yet us adults can barely get our head above the...
I want to say what we did the other day in the gym.
What
we
do we
finally
do?
found something that Gem can do and I can't.
Oh yeah.
that?
Oh my god, I'm better.
One thing that Gemma could do
No,
better.
no. So we
When
have
Oh,
two very different strengths, I would
Okay.
say. So in terms of like strength, I'm probably stronger upper body, and Nadiva's probably stronger lower body.
Except for pull-ups, but that's by default because of your squats.
Yeah, pull-ups. I have a medical issue, so that's not my fault.
Yeah.
But I am, and I mean this truthfully, the most inflexible person I've ever met.
Psychologically or
No.
physically?
Both, actually. Psychologically, okay, so like how we've got you to get a home gym,
Yeah.
I'm yet to fully be sold on the psychologist thing, but I am open.
That's great. That's a great thing.
It is.
We're talking.
But the inflexibility, I'm talking more about my body. Like,
Okay.
I find it very hard to touch my toes. Part of that is when you lift weights for a very long time, you shorten your muscles. So, like bodybuilders, it's why they look like they've got no neck and their arms sort of hang out by their
everything's
side.
so constricted.
Everything's so short, it's so tight. You're kind of tearing, repairing those muscles. So, it's not very conducive to them being like a ballerina or a gymnast. But Nadiva, on the other hand, sort of just can cartwheel around and do a handstand and sends me all these ridiculous reels.
Also hypermobile.
Yeah, but she'll send me these reels on Instagram like, we should try this. And it's like two girls doing like a headstand, like with one hand on the floor and the other hand like scratching their belly.
Basically twister.
Yeah,
Wow.
literally like human
Upside
twister.
down twister.
Yeah, can't be doing that. So, but yesterday we did a
Right hand on
mobility
green.
challenge and you had to sort of not use your hands, cross your legs, sit down, get onto your knees, come onto the floor, get yourself back up again. And I was better.
I couldn't do it. I
couldn't
could
do
not
it.
get up.
I think it's because you've got such long legs.
Okay,
You've
this
got
is the
more
thing,
legs to get up.
I'm deceivingly tall. I don't have long legs. I have a long
How
torso.
tall are you?
5'5".
That's not deceivingly. That just means you're
I was
fine.
like, my legs aren't long.
Neither am
got a
I.
long-
I've got
long
tiny
body.
legs.
I've got a really
Long
long
body.
torso. That's all.
It's not talked about enough, is it?
No.
What, long torsos?
Length of torsos versus length of legs. Yeah.
No.
So,
well, I
so-
was going to say it's because your legs are so long, but then clearly it's just because you're shit.
Yeah, no, I I don't know.
I was trying to like get
really
you
annoyed
out
I
of that
struggled.
hole of saying,
So what's the so okay, well, I'm going to be curious here. So between the two of you, there's
Constant
like
competition.
there is this competition
Yeah.
going on. I
Constant.
can hear going
Yeah.
on. How does that play out in a helpful way? And how does it play out in an unhelpful way? Does that happen?
well, I said this on to yesterday. So yesterday we filmed a special episode about the trek that I'm doing, which we'll refer to on future episodes. But one thing I did say to Nadiva yesterday that she keeps referring to how much I eat.
In what kind of way?
But not in a negative way.
No, but like I in that I eat a lot, or like when would you say yesterday that every time you call me I'm eating, or every time
Yeah.
you see me I'm eating.
She's always, whenever I call her on the phone, she's eating.
So then I
It
got a
could just be that I
complex.
call you always
that-
at lunchtime.
maybe, but then I was thinking, okay, is that not competitive? But then I'm like, maybe am I like a pig? Am I eating all the time? I don't know.
No, you eat enough. I think it's
You
flipped
don't.
yeah, okay, but moving on from that. Yeah.
So we're back to the comparing a bit between each other.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
challenge and push each other?
Yes.
Yes, but like yes. So, but even on that, it's sort of like, oh, what have you eaten today, kind of thing. I think there's a comparison and like a competitiveness in some
Yeah.
ways, and in the gym setting, yeah, I think we're competitive, but I actually think we're quite different in the gym. Do you think?
In what way different?
Like I would,
I like, in terms of like what we train, I'm more cardio.
yeah, and I'm much more weights,
Yeah,
but
I
then I
like
could
my
probably go
cardio.
for a longer run.
Yeah.
Like I could be more of an endurance runner, but I like to train heavy, and you like to train more cardio, hypertrophy,
Yeah.
higher reps, get that heart rate up.
What's hypertrophy?
So there's a few different ways of training. So if you are looking to just like, if you're, let's say, overweight, you've got a lot of fat to lose, you'd mainly train like in cardio. So that's kind of really high reps, 20 plus reps, running, sprints, hit, all the kind of things that you see in, I guess, a cardio room in the gym. Hypertrophy is somewhere in between. So it's when you tend to do sets of around 12 to 15 reps. And so your heart rate is high. You're lifting a weight that's heavy, but not so heavy that you can't manage more than 6 or 8 reps. So you're ranging for 12 to 15 reps, but your heart rate is high. So it's kind of in a fat burn state. So it's a mix between cardio and strength. And then strength training is when you do lower reps. So let's say you're aiming for between 6 to 8 reps of something, and you're trying to go as heavy as possible. You might even go for people, you might hear people refer to it as like 1 RM, so 1 rep max, which is like, what is your ultimate weight? So you might be able to do 1 deadlift at 200 kilos. That's your 1 rep max. That's what you know that you can get one. Yeah, it could be impressive. You can get 1 out of. So I tend to train in that strength zone. So 6 to 8, sometimes 10 reps. Nadiva, I'd say, would train more between the hypertrophy and in HIIT training.
Right.
And there is reason for that, and I will explain when we move on.
Let's move on. Go on. Let's go.
So, and I know it's quite a controversial topic, but I get a bit obsessed with my Apple Watch. So I like to move my move goals on my Apple Watch, for example, right? So that's however many calories, and I'm putting that in inverted commas, you can't see it, however many calories I burn on my watch. So the more I sweat, the more my heart rate is high, the more calories my watch thinks that I am burning. So the more my move goal moves round. Does that make sense?
This is an interesting phrasing. The more my watch thinks I'm burning.
Because it's done on heart rate.
Okay.
And it's an Apple Watch. It's not accurate. Let me just put that into play. However, I like my move goals to move round. So I have to burn enough calories. Now, if I am not getting my heart rate high by running on the treadmill and sprinting and doing lots of reps, my move goal doesn't get as high as it would if I was doing that.
And what happens if you haven't reached your move goal?
Oh, it plays around in my head. But also I have...
Wait, what plays around? What head plays?
It feels like I haven't worked enough.
As you tell yourself, I haven't worked enough.
And also, I am the type of person that if I like to sweat and go red and look like I've peed my pants because I've sweat so much. You know that, like...
Just sweat everywhere.
When you're not wearing black leggings and you're wearing a colored leggings, it looks... You don't have
I feel like
that
that
issue.
is like, well, that's what Brits abroad look like. Really red and sweaty.
Brits abroad.
Yeah, you know, like if you go on holiday or you sit in like a...
Shagaloof.
Yeah, basically, and everyone's just very sunburnt, a bit sweaty, with terrible strap marks and weird patches.
So I don't enjoy yoga.
Because it's not high intensity enough for you.
No, I get that. Yeah. I'm not a yogi.
But moving back to the Apple Watch is, unfortunately, I have a number of my clients linked to my Apple Watch as well. So I can see what they're doing during the day. And if I see that one client has moved more than I have, I then have to make sure that I'm moving, because I feel like they look at me as like the personal trainer.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. And I've had clients message me to be like, oh, I beat you today. Why have you only done 5? Because they can then see mine as well.
So this competition starts playing out between all of you and your clients.
It's really bad.
So how do you leave the ego at the door?
I don't. I struggle.
Well, let's work through this.
Let's.
Yeah.
I think...
To all you listeners out there, you know who you are.
So that's probably the reason I don't have an Apple Watch, because I would be obsessive. Like, I have a Fitbit, but and for me it is good for one thing and one thing only.
Step count.
Step count. It is. They are not accurate. There are loads and loads of like research and documentaries of people tracking their wearables. We call them wearables, right?
Like Whoop, I see all the time.
Yeah.
So Whoop is
a bit more.
Whoop is a bit more different, and I want to get one, but I also have an right. Okay. Well, why do you want? No, but so this is. I don't think you should get one. I think it would fuck you up. No, yes, but then the thing with Whoop is you get put in groups. So like any activity you're doing, let's say you're going for a run, it will then group you with other runners, and then it makes you very competitive. So you're constantly in competition with other people. So I think you'd go off in a spiral. I think you'd be like, Tim's done 20,000 steps.
Well, that's why I hate going to, and I don't want to keep bringing Barry's up, but I hate going to Barry's with Aryeh, my husband, because well, obviously, because he's a man, burns way more calories than I do. And I'm like, hang on a second. I was struggling. I couldn't breathe on the treadmill next to you. Why have I done 200 less than you?
But then why are calories so important? They mean nothing.
I know it does, but it's the when you're wearing it on your wrist and you're looking and you're like, my move goal hasn't moved. Basically, Matt, you need to turn around to me and say, don't wear your watch for a day.
But we
and I'm gonna be like,
often,
"Back off."
we
Well, I
often
wonder-
teach the same class, right? So we'll often teach a boxing class together.
Right.
We're not doing the class. We're just moving around and shouting. Our heart rate is up.
Oh, extreme.
And it will say that she's burnt 450 calories teaching
moving.
and I'll have burnt 100. We're both wearing wearables. It's completely inaccurate. There are so many factors. The only reason you should wear it, right, is to track your steps. The reason I don't have an Apple Watch is I know I would become as obsessive as you. And I know that's not good for me. And I don't want to do that, so I won't.
I think that's a good point. If you know that you are prone to be obsessive about things, I think you just got to be mindful about it, because it sounds like it can literally drive your body and your nervous system state to really try really hard. But it also sounds like unless you can work to find times to turn off that drive mode, there's this thing that happens in our brain called emotional hijacking. If you are focusing on something as a threat response, if it's like, I have to do this because this is so important, and it starts getting into that threat activation, your limbic system is switching on, which is your fight and flight system. If that's switched on, then you're going to be in this overdrive place, right? You also need times to dial it down. Otherwise, you're in that high threat activation all the time. That burns people out. That exhausts you. So it's good to know that you can get there, because actually we need to be there sometimes. If you're in real danger, or if you're doing an athletic event, you need to sprint really fast, you want to wind it up real high. But then you need to learn how to dial it down as well. And that emotional hijacking bit that I'm explaining is that when your emotions take over, they can do the same thing to your brain and your nervous system. So your emotions, like I'm not good enough or I'm feeling, those kind of strong things, those strong narratives switch on the same pathways in our brain. So I think I can hear this playing out between the two of you, and I'm thinking, okay, fitness watch helpful, but also maybe sometimes unhelpful, sometimes unhelpful, especially if you can't then if you can't appreciate how hard you worked and what success it was that day. If the watch, if success or failure comes down to the watch, that sounds like you're going to get into trouble. The thing about ego, because you just mentioned ego, the thing about leaving your ego at the door, which is quite a helpful thing to think through, is that if you're going with an ego mindset or the emotion-based mindset, there's already in your mind, the narrative is, am I winning or am I losing? Am I winning or am I losing? When actually, if it's a training event, you want to think about it as, I'm guessing, from a physical health, but I'm thinking from a mental health perspective, I want to learn, train, progress, personal development. That's not a winning or losing thing ever. That's always looking after yourself and loving yourself.
So growing.
A growing place. Yeah. So you said, might you leave the watch at home one day? What would that be like to do a whole day of working out where the watch isn't on? What would happen?
I don't know, but I'll try it.
Yeah,
I'll
I think
give
that's
it
a
go.
really good. In fact,
let's put it out there for everybody, because we get it a lot in our classes, and more often than not, especially with boxing, okay? When you've got the boxing gloves on, sometimes it stops the watch and it stops the activity. And we've had it before that at the end of a class, they look at their watch like, oh, fuck, it's only done 2 minutes. I'm like, would you want to stay for another hour and do all over again? Because it hasn't recorded. And in their head, they're like, if it's not recorded on the watch,
never lies.
I haven't done the workout.
yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And I get that. So let's put it out there for anyone who struggles with getting obsessed with the Apple Watch. Let's all try, and I will do it, not wear an Apple Watch for 24 hours. Or maybe not for 24 hours. Maybe I'll say I won't wear the Apple Watch when I'm in the gym.
No, 24 hours. Why not?
Well, I still like to count my steps. Can I not count my steps?
Sure. Whatever version's right for you as a listener.
God, he's so much nicer, isn't he?
He is.
So, well,
I think Matt's scared of me.
No, I think no.
What I'm trying,
I think let's start.
I think
slowly.
Exactly. I think
right,
that's the point.
that's fair enough.
That's the point.
Yeah,
it's like everyone do one more thing than you did before.
Yes, the 1%. We're referring back to the 1%. Do 1% more.
I will not turn it on in either a Barry's or a gym setting at some point next week.
Exactly. And for those of you that have
I'll prove it, because I'll screen grab my Apple Watch and you'll see over 24 hours it's barely moved.
Oh, a big accountability. And then be curious, because that's the whole thing, to try these things out. And again, it's not a win or lose scenario. Was it great or was it terrible that I turned it off? It's like, what happened? Like, what was it like to not turn off? And there'll be some feelings in there, like there will be the thought.
I reckon it'll be quite liberating. Knowing that I've still done a work and I know I've still worked hard, but the watch or whatever I was wearing doesn't determine how hard I worked. I think I feel quite...
Go in as the hypothesis is, it's like an experiment, right? I often treat things like new things in life are good things, good to try out like an experiment. Because that way there's no winning or losing. You're just trying to find out what happens. Yeah. So the experiment is what happens if I don't wear my watch for this workout? And the hypothesis you've got is, I think it might be quite, what did you say? Liberating.
Therapeutic.
Let's see. Let's check in next time.
How do you think you'll feel if we do a workout? Can I look at this challenge with a frame?
Can I see your challenge and raise it?
No. But we do a workout together.
Yep.
And we will do this week. And I do put mine on and you don't.
Okay.
Do you think you'll find that hard that I know that mine gets recorded and yours doesn't?
No, because in my head I'll be like, okay, whatever Gem has done, I'm...
Oh, so then I shouldn't do it. Okay,
we
so
should both not do it.
But I'm not obsessive with mine.
No, or just do it, but don't tell me. Like, don't tell me.
But it wouldn't make you feel like yours counted and I didn't.
No.
Okay.
I just,
interesting.
In my head, I'll be like, okay, say yours says 300. I'll be like, okay, fine, roughly that.
But that might
I'll use your data.
I see what you mean.
For me.
That might be for some people, whereas, some people might start comparing themselves.
Yeah.
You did a workout that counted and I did one that didn't. And I think, again, it's a false dichotomy. Of course, both your workouts counted in that moment in time. But it's interesting how everything gets tied into. What's the narrative you tell yourself? And so a couple of weeks ago, we talked about what do you say to yourself? That was a really big point, which you guys took the challenge on to think, what do you say to yourself in those moments? Mm-hmm. The next thing, I think, which is all about ego, which we just talked about winning and losing. The next thing to think about is how do you speak to yourself? What's the quality of your inner voice? So, like, are you going to say, that was terrible, I didn't do anything, it doesn't count? Or is there a kind voice that said, you did so good, all right, I don't have any evidence, I don't know what I did, but you know what, I'm really proud of myself. The tone, as much as the words, is important. So we're doing this self-love, we're doing this looking after ourselves. Oh you
God,
can see
it gives me a shudder.
I know. It's hard, isn't it?
My anxiety, I can't breathe properly.
It's hard.
Which bit?
Just being kind to yourself. Just a bit. It doesn't come naturally.
It's like a muscle. Treat it like a workout. Okay. So every time you rep self-love, every time you say something kind to yourself, it feels a bit easier to do.
But it is a hard thing to do.
Of course it's a hard thing to do. Of course it's a hard thing to do because we've got so many other thoughts that come in that say, who are you kidding? Why are you doing self-love? You're not worthy of this.
Yeah.
Or why are you doing this? Come on, we know really, really deep down, that's not true. So it's like a rep. You have to rep these things out. And over time, you start to convince yourself that, I'm great. I'm worthy.
Battle those inner demons.
Battle those inner demons. And that's the thing. You never stop the fight. Never stop the fight. It's always there. The demons are always there, but some days they're just a little bit quieter.
Right. Okay.
I'm excited for this challenge.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy for you. I'm gonna hold you very accountable.
I know
to this.
you are. When we go to, no, I'm not for Sunday, but when we next go to the gym together, you can take my watch from me.
Why not on Sunday?
I want to know how many steps I do on our trek.
Why?
Because I'm just really curious how many steps I do.
But I could tell you.
Okay.
Okay, so Sunday.
Like her face is freaking out. See, this is the thing. Like you're going to be in.
No, because I'm already.
Yeah.
You're already panicking. That's ridiculous.
No, I'm not panicking about. No, because I'm actually really curious how the steps are on Sunday.
And I can tell you. And so can all the other people.
Okay, fine.
So on Sunday, maybe I should say what we're doing. On Sunday, we're taking a group of our clients hiking, which is great for me because it's a practice hike before I head out to my copper trek.
Ooh, where are you going to hike? Where are you going
Box
to?
Hill in Surrey.
Very nice.
Where is Surrey? How far away is it?
It's a big place, but where we're going is about just over an hour away.
Okay. Carry on.
But Surrey's big-ish. It's where the Olympic cycling team train. Box Hill.
Is that right?
Yeah, so basically when you drive into it, there's just cyclists going round and round and round. You walk over the walking part, but the road up to it is called Zigzag Road because it's literally like the elevation is humongous. So any cyclists out there looking for a good training route, Zigzag Road in Box Hill, Surrey is fantastic. So it's where the British team.
Zigzag Road?
No, we walk over the hill,
Right.
and they go on the road and the pathway. It's not like off-roading for the cyclists. It's great. I mean, it's very elevated.
I mean, that's got to be hard work.
Very hard work. I mean, I'm not a cyclist, so I'm not there. But what were we saying?
So you're going on this hike Sunday with a group of your
clients.
NG
Fit crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I need a training hike, and we also wanted to show people that you don't always need to be in the gym to enjoy your workout, but B, you have a reset. Because
what do you mean?
So I personally, if I go outside and I go into nature, I feel like $1 million. I honestly feel so much better. And I do all types of different workouts. Like when I go on holiday, my favorite thing to do is not go to an indoor gym. I'll go for a run and explore on the beach, or I'll take resistance bands and I'll go and do like a leg workout on the sand, or anything that takes me out of the setting of being in a gym or things that I'm used to. Because I find when I do something a bit different, or when I do something in a different environment, my whole mindset changes, and you need a bit of a refresh. It's kind of why you need a rest day, because your body needs to reset, repair. Going outside to me is like a reset, repair. It takes me to a place that is really like refreshing. It really changes my whole mental attitude. And so we're taking people for a hike on Sunday. So I guess it's a rest or a reset day for some.
Yes.
It's going to be a emotional day for Nadiva, because you are not going to turn that on. In fact, you're not going to bring it.
To be discussed.
Okay, we'll discuss it. And it's going to be
a little more than you did the last time. Yeah.
No, well, you can't.
Right, going back to what you said about fresh air, we literally said this yesterday. So Gem and I went for a walk, and prior to that I was in Gem's house, and we were discussing like different things we wanted to do with the business, and our heads were like completely all scrambled. We just couldn't concentrate. We went out for a walk. Within 10 minutes it was like everything became clear.
Yes.
Like the fresh air, just not only is it good for your body, but it just, and I'm sure you can give us some intake on that, but it really does clear your mind.
On nature, outdoors, and our well-being. This is a 6-part series.
You like David Attenborough?
I loved it. Who doesn't love David Attenborough?
No. Are you like him?
Oh no.
He's more into the animals.
But he's quite outdoorsy.
He's extremely outdoorsy.
No, not David Attenborough.
He spent the last 90 years outdoors.
He's incredible. He's a British institution.
Bear Grylls. How have you got them confused?
No.
Sorry.
I said
David
David Attenborough,
picture of David
and I was picturing
Attenborough.
David Attenborough, and then I realised, no, that's the wrong thing. That's animals. Bear Grylls.
I'm sure it's a compliment to them both. Am I like Bear Grylls? You know, one of my career hopes later in life is that I get to be
Bear Grylls.
The psychology version of something like Bear Grylls.
That's cool.
My other hat that I wear is that I run a business called Ecosensory Therapy, where we help train practitioners in knowing the benefits of nature and how to work with it with their clients. So let's definitely talk more about nature. And if you're listening in and you are intrigued about physical exercise in the outdoors, green exercise, the benefits of stepping into nature.
Also moving into summer.
Well, let's talk more about it. So even, for instance, the thing you just spoke about. So you stepped outside and you began to have you felt like you felt refreshed in your clarity of thought.
Yeah.
But I think also the main part of that is because there was no distractions. I feel like when you're at home trying to have a meeting at home, you've got either a dog or a kid, or you've got the kitchen that you've got things that you haven't put away from breakfast that you're just going to quickly tidy up and try and have a meeting at the same time, or someone's hoovering upstairs. Like there's so many distractions, whereas you go outside and yes, fine, you've got the noise of the traffic and the birds or whatever, but it's actually clears your mind.
That's
more.
So you are a genius, Nadiva.
Oh, thank you.
Fucking A.
Yes.
You're very
Finally.
Oh my God.
Woo!
Do you know what you just described?
Might have many issues, but I am a genius.
You just described a very well substantiated theory about why nature's so beneficial.
Oh, so see, you don't need a 6-year degree to do that. She could have done it. She did it in literally like 8 seconds.
There you go. Attention restoration theory.
Obviously,
So-
that's
Basically
what you're
what
going
I
to say. Yeah.
Exactly.
I just
So-
wanted to bring it down a level.
Tip of your tongue.
There you go. Attention restoration. You're right. Actually, the way so very, very brief interlude. The way that all of our sensory systems the way our sensory systems were designed, the way we experienced the world was designed in nature.
Right.
So, and that means the activation of our sensory systems is actually in line with the natural world. So we respond really positively to the sounds of the birds, the smell of the leaves, all those things. Conversely, we have not lived in an urban environment for much of our evolution, very, very recently. And the environment we live in is constantly, pings, alerts, your phone buzzes, the screen pitched on, the blue light from the screen, children scream. These are
Get something you have to
alerting things for our attention. They're alerting, which means they alert us to it, and they're orienting. We have to focus on it. So our attention gets distracted so many times, it fatigues our attention systems. In nature, the sensory environment is so much more in line with what our bodies is more relaxing for our bodies. It frees up our attentional capacities. It restores our attention. Attention restoration theory, i.e. what Nadiva said.
Basically,
Yeah.
AKA.
AKA Nadiva's a genius.
Yeah.
But I think with that, we should put it out there to people that if you are doing work and if you're working from home, right? A lot of people are now working from home. I know my husband does, and he struggles. He can't sit at a desk at home the whole time and try and focus. So we do have a dog. So every day he will go out and walk the dog for an hour, and he comes back and it's just completely refreshed his mind, and he can then get back into it.
The good thing about attention restoration theory, if you go out into nature as well, or a green space, green or blue spaces, so like water or greenery, it not only restores it in the moment, it gives you a buffer. You can deal with stress better, because what it's actually doing, attention restoration, it's actually lowering your stress in your body. And your stress, your attentional systems are tied together. So you're lowering your stress. So that means when you get your stressful thing in a couple of hours' time, you're going to be better able to deal with it. So get out. So you're hiking nature this weekend. Let's plug it. Go, definitely go when you're along to this thing. Come and join you guys, because it's going to do great things for your physical health, your emotional resilience, your stress management, your mental health.
And genuinely, a few people said to me, "Oh, but if I come, I'm not going to get a workout in."
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, firstly,
You will.
it's tough. Secondly, it's okay to not do a workout in the same way that you usually do a workout.
Yeah.
And thirdly, if you want to stop every 5 minutes and do a burpee, you can.
Yes, you can.
Burpee
we won't.
station.
We won't. Yeah, exactly. Like a burpee station.
Not
But it's
water
just
station.
a different type of it. Like, challenge your body. Your
Yeah.
body needs to be challenged. Your body needs to be changed. You need to set yourself different goals. So why not? Like a walk. It's not a walk. It's a hike. Firstly, it is tough.
Yeah.
But same goes for anything. Maybe the physical benefit is different to lifting up dumbbells, but the physical and mental benefit for me far outweighs it, because the next day I'm so much more raring to go. Can you imagine what's going to happen to me when I've just done 6 days camping in nature?
Wow.
I'm going to come
smell.
back. Yeah, I'm going to smell.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel that we're taking the train back. So a few of us are taking the train back from, it's in like Scotland or Northumberland. Same place? Nearly? Ish. North.
Different.
Not London. It's not as past Watford, fat nose.
It's a train ride away.
Where are you going? You're walking along
Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, the border between England and Scotland.
Was the old border. It's a bit of a distance between them.
Do you know that there is still a law? This is completely irrelevant. And it's in common law that you may shoot somebody with a bow and arrow from Hadrian's Wall on a Sunday, if you feel like they are trespassing or endangering your life, and you can't be prosecuted. It's one of those random, sometimes there's these weird
That's
random
why
laws.
you bought the bow and arrow.
Yeah,
Only on a
exactly.
Sunday. You're not there on a Sunday.
I was wondering why you're
Oh,
packing
you are there
that.
on a Sunday.
I am there.
You
on
are there on
Sunday.
a Sunday.
Don't go. Yeah, if you've
Don't
ever
piss
off
double crossed
Gemma.
me, do not come near me on Sunday at 11 a.m. by Hadrian's Wall, because you are getting a whoop in the butt. On that note, maybe it's time to wrap this. Maybe it's time to wrap this up before I get myself in more trouble. But yeah, this was very insightful.
Yeah, and
This is good. Yeah.
we've set ourselves challenges
Good
for the week
challenges
ahead.
this
Big
Difficult challenges.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have a challenge, but I think that's okay because I'm going to challenge you.
Your challenge is looking after me. That's a
Yeah,
challenge in
picking you up
itself.
off the floor.
Well, I think as well, anyone that's going on the hike,
Then maybe I'll do the same thing.
maybe the other challenge is because people have said to you, oh, I'm not sure it's going to be a workout. Maybe the challenge is like, just what is it like? Go on it. And then.
But also
What do
come
you
to us 2 days later and see how your legs are feeling and if you can walk.
Okay.
And then
yeah.
I would decide if.
But
you
I have
can
actually
do
said
a
this to a couple
workout.
of my clients who said, "Oh, I'm not sure it's for me." I've said, "Well, push yourself. Be a bit be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Do the thing that you already are afraid of because it hasn't happened yet, and so it might not actually be that scary. But you just don't know until you try.
Might be the best thing you ever did.
It might be the
And worst
best thing
case,
you've ever did.
You turn around and you walk back to the car.
That's a really long way.
What is it? Not a loop. If after 10 minutes you hate it, you turn around and you go back.
The first 10 minutes are quite flat. The 10 minutes are easy.
Oh, okay.
First
Right,
10
ignore
minutes. If
me.
you hate it in the first 10 minutes, then
You're fucked.
yeah. I mean, no. Don't turn around and go back to the car.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
Keep going.
Give it a
We've
try.
got you.
Give it a try. Our finishing notes.
Give it a try.
In
Give it a
everything.
try. Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking about, wherever you're about to step into, you're ending this podcast and you're walking into work, you're going back home, whatever it is, going to the gym, give it a try.
Give
And
it a
you've got
try.
this.
You've
You
got
got
this.
this.
You've got this. Give this a try. Also, give this a like
And subscribe.
subscribe.
and a subscribe
And forward to everyone.
and a
anyone.
rating and a share and follow Dr. Matt Slavin.
And
Follow Nadiva Gem and Fit if you're not. Follow the podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts even. And
we'll see you next time.
we will
Thank
see you next
you.
week.
Bye, everyone.